Welcome back to the Prosperity Portal podcast. I'm your host, Jill Alana, and we have a free Prosperity Masterclass on October 19th where I'm doing free mini intuitive reads, a Jai activation, a energy boost, an energy clearing, and it's going to be a sample of what the Prosperity Portal membership is like for the live calls. So if you are keen, then definitely sign up for that below. As I said, it's free. It's going to be an amazing community, so much fun, and you will get so much vitality and inspiration from this masterclass and the energy work that we're going to do. I also have very exciting news. The Prosperity Portal Retreat for May 2026 is now open for early bird applications. The applications are linked below in the show notes. If you have any questions, by the way, feel free to email teamjillalana@gmail.com. This is the most powerful portal of transformation you will ever enter. Miracles happen at these retreats. We've had people manifest their beloveds, manifest dream houses, two women manifest dream houses, citizenship in record time, their dream car, their dream partner, dream wedding. One woman manifested 6 figures at an event. You can see that on the landing page. You can scroll down. It's in the video testimonials. Deepening in union. And really, this is all about becoming your most authentic version of you and transmuting trauma on a deep core level with somatic work and reclaiming your power, your purpose, and your potentials through integrating your shadow so that you are the driver, the victor of your life versus your unconscious wounds driving your life and you calling it fate, because it's not. Carl Jung. The things that are unconscious, aka shadow, run our life and control your electromagnetic field, your energy field. And then we call it fate. It is not fate. You're literally controlling it. And when you integrate your shadow, illuminate it, and transmute the dense energies that were stopping that integration from taking place, then now you have your full power, your full presence, and your life purpose begins to reveal. And this is how you become the vortex and a powerful AF manifester. Literally. It is bonkers. So there is no retreat out there like this. I have gone to so many, and honestly, I wish I could come as a participant. But I'll be facilitating, and it's like a family vibe. You guys get to talk with me. You can ask me anything. Last year I did mini intuitive reads for everyone, which were literally not mini, and those are typically 4 figures. They were like full intuitive reads. So perhaps we'll do those. We have some surprises, which I can't tell you about. You'll have to come see. It's on the Sunshine Coast, which is just off of Vancouver, BC in Canada. It's at a beautiful location. Everything's included. It will be taking place in the yurt, but you have your own, a shared room, your own bed, at a beautiful resort. There's a cold dip, there is a sauna, there is a spa, there is a hot tub. You can book a Lomi Lomi massage with Jen, who's one of the owners and such a beautiful human and also powerful healer. Yes, we will be doing Jai breath work for those who have asked, and Jai activations, and a lot more. It's going to be a ton of fun too. One of my superpowers is making like the deepest core healing so fun. And you walk out transformed and you're just like on cloud 9. You're like, I don't even need anything. I don't want anything. I just feel so good. And by default, you become a magnet to all the miracles. That's how it works. So that is below. This will likely be the last retreat of this sort in a while. Everything's included. We have an amazing private chef as well. And the reason is because we're switching to more of an immersion style moving forward. And that might only be accessible to my high level mastermind that I run with my dear soul sister and business partner, which we're going to be doing a year-long mastermind for. So I don't know when or if we will do another retreat of this intimacy again. So get your butt in if you feel the call, get your application in, let's chat, let's make sure it's in alignment, and you will meet the best soul community from all over the world, and I do not say that lightly. They all say that. They're all still freaking friends from across the world. So soul family from across the world, and literally you becoming a magnet to your dreams and clearing all the energetics out of your field that aren't in alignment and that we're actually blocking, stopping, or slowing down your soul manifestations. Let's go. And without further ado, let's go to the show. Hello and welcome to the Prosperity Portal podcast. I'm your host, Jill Alana, and I'm here to support you in everything you need to prosper in health, wealth, and relationship. I'm obsessed with everything manifestation, soul path, intuition, somatic embodiment healing, and I'm looking forward to supporting you in liberating to a life of love and luxury. True empowerment, true sovereignty, and aligned soul manifestation. I'm the founder of Jill Alana International, Jai Activations, and Jai Breathwork. And without further ado, let's go to the show and get you resourced in everything pro. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this Instagram live on the transformation beginning at the transaction. Today, I'm bringing on a beautiful soul sister, Nikki, who's joining right now. Hi, Nikki.
Hey.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for joining.
It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a couple weeks. So much has happened in the past couple weeks. Hang on, I'm just gonna move my
Actually, though.
camera. So I was just telling everybody, welcome for those coming live, that we're gonna have a conversation today about the transformation beginning at the transaction and high proximity containers, mentorship, the job of a facilitator, a mentor, a coach, especially in these higher containers, because they are very different than, like a teaching or a challenge. That's a lot of information. But the higher proximity ones, we're also going to talk about boundaries. They are a different space. They are really the implementation, and the job of the facilitator being an activation. But the transformation starts before you even meet with the mentor in the mastermind, the coach, etc. Because it's not just information, it's more of the implementation. And yeah, why don't we just start? Why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll share how we met, synchronicity always, and then we'll get into it.
Of course. So I'm Nikki Revis. I have been a coach of many iterations for over 14 years now. It started in the health and wellness space. I ended up buying a gym, owning a gym, building that out, selling that about 6 years in, and then really pivoted into the energetic, the healing space. And then ultimately I just have this deep love for business, met with mentorship. But the way that I see strategy and the gap in the conversation, I really wanted to speak to that and bridge the gap and make strategy something that is actually wildly feminine, and keeps us in our, in our superpower, in our magic. And so I've been doing that, and it's everything that I always dreamed it could be. Really also turning up the fire. I am known for being a fire keeper. I see fire and untapped potential in other people, and there's a way that I am here to activate and initiate that and fan that flame and let it get big and bright and bold, really helping people step into their individuality, their authentic frequency that is uniquely theirs, and turning that up using strategy that only magnifies what's happening in the energetic plane, right? So kind of really bridging that gap and turning it up, turning it on, and then turning their business into this wildfire. So that's me. That's what I do. Yeah. And I met Jill at a conference a couple weeks ago. She kind of crept in, sat next to me quite quietly for a myriad of reasons, come to find out later. But quick interaction, I could feel her. And I was like, I see you. And you kind of look like maybe you don't want to talk, but I'm gonna speak anyways, and I'm gonna connect. And then it turned out you were having this whole throat activation and what was happening on stage. And so then we turned in and we were talking to each other in this exercise, and we both just like, I feel like codes were just connecting what was happening in your field with your throat and like what was happening in my field in this next iteration of my business, just like divinely aligned. And we start talking and we're like, oh my gosh, this is a conversation. Like, this is the conversation that we need to have on our platforms. Like, more people need to be talking about it, because there's also a level of accountability on both, like the coach and the mentor, the seat of the coach and the mentor, and the seat of the client. And so, like, really understanding what we're choosing into when we're working with any kind of mentor, and what kind of space we're choosing into. Because like you said, there's the coach student, which holds a really powerful place. Like, I have containers that is the seat that we get to sit in. And then we have the high proximity containers, where it's really more of like a circling, like we shift the paradigm and we're now really deeply integrating and embodying what we learned in these other containers. And the transformation is, the initiation is the same, right? Like, if you're buying into a student seat, that initiation starts when you start to feel that pull and you start to feel the resistance move through your body and the emotions, and you're like, shit, am I supposed to do this? Can I do this? Yeah, like, I feel this. And then you have to move through that edge, and you choose it. Like, it actually starts before you even hit submit, in my opinion. Like, the initiation starts when you feel that pull, when you feel that resistance.
It's okay. I have so much to say on this, like, divine timing as always. So for those of you who are like, why was Jill? Firstly, I'm very introverted. People think I'm so like extroverted because I can be social, but I'm actually really introverted. But what Nikki's talking about is I actually lost my voice right before the conference because I was going through an initiation of speaking my truth, and I was starting to hold these boundaries because I was stepping into a deeper level of leadership, embodied leadership, not just like inspiring people and trying to like drag them up, but like really embodying this, which is what we're going to talk about, because that's a whole other level of leadership, of guidance. And those spaces, like you were talking about, like the mentorship spaces, high level mastermind spaces, are where I have experienced the deepest transformation.
Me too.
And also where others, because it's power to power. Like you said, it's not like, oh, now you're my student. It's like, okay, no, like, there is no hierarchy. Not that there isn't a teacher student either, but there's a lot of just like learning.
Yeah.
And then mentorship, it's like initiate, like you're basically going through so many initiations, and the mentor is not there as a teacher necessarily, but truly to co-create. And it's so funny that you said the poll and should I do this, because I just made one of the biggest investments in my life, actually two. The other day I did a live on it, and I was like, because I almost joined the mastermind of the one that we were at, and I was like, I got a no to join for this year, and then I joined a different one that's like more of an investment, but it's more in the vein of what my soul needs right now because of what I'm going through. But that whole thing, I was like, I joined the year-long program, which is like a coaching program, and I was like, no, like, I think I'm supposed to join like the mastermind and like pay in full, and that's like all the money in my business bank account, and like I'm not available to pull my investments, so like I need to like get cash flow, which it started coming, of course, like right after I made the investment. And then I woke up the next morning. I did a whole live on this a couple weeks ago. I woke up the next morning and I was like, no, I don't need it. And then my friend, who's also an intuitive, for those who don't know, quickly, I'm a shamanic healer. I teach manifestation. I'm an intuitive, so I read energy fields and see where you're blocked in prospering in health, wealth, and relationship. And the core of my work is integrating, it's shadow integration. So helping illuminate your blind spots, and mostly with the shamanic arts. I'm an initiated shaman in two lineages, actually. And my grandmother was part Cree, which is interesting because I
didn't come through my family's not into this stuff, but of course it was like in my blood. So I help people integrate their shadow to access their full power, potential, and purpose. And when we're on this journey, the work works through us. So of course, like we have mentors and coaches, etc. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So I went through that whole process and I was like, oh, I don't need it. Like, and then my friend like intuitively tested for me, and she tested 8 other masterminds that I was considering. And she was like, oh, like I got a yes. And I totally thought it was going to be a no. And I was like, oh my God. And I just coached a woman in this container called Soul Sale September on like, she doesn't have enough skin in the game. And it's like, Joe, are you going to put your money where your mouth is? And I did. And it's like, it's just a reminder of like what those spaces, like I always have a private mentor. Sometimes I have 2, but I have 2 right now. But like, it's different in like the mastermind is kind of like, so many people are like, oh, I want it to like get all the things, like tell me all the things that I need to do. And it's like, no, you're now becoming a leader with your peers. And like the facilitators, I run a mastermind with that business partner. The facilitators are now facilitating and guiding you.
Yeah.
But we're not telling you what to do. Like you're not children in grade school. Like the teaching containers are like children in grade school. You've been initiated to like university. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Nikki and I were having a conversation when I'm so glad you talked to me. When we started talking and I was like barely being able to talk. Some people on my Instagram know I did a story. I was like, didn't hold a boundary and speak my truth. And now I lost my voice and I was so sick in bed right before the conference. And it only started to come back after I started speaking my truth. But that truth and me honoring my boundaries started to piss people off that I had unconsciously been enabling because I was trying to like pull them up instead of allowing them to see their power. And so I was sharing with Nikki that I had lost my voice and I'm not actually like a bitch. Like I just, I'm not a cold bitch that doesn't want to talk anymore. And it just really hurt. And I'm also introverted. And I had all the issues getting to that conference. The plane, I think I told
you told me, yeah.
I barely slept because my plane was canceled. Like as we were boarding, like all of these things will happen when you're stepping into the next level. So yeah, we really wanted to have a conversation about transformation and stepping into whether it's like a coaching container where you're like learning and getting coached, or if it's a high level mastermind or a private mentorship container, like what those look like and how you will get initiated through the process. And that's the process of becoming, like that's the point. And then also where this is something that's been very recent, actually, divine timing, the difference between like a mentorship group and then just getting fed all this information. Like a teaching group is like you're consuming all the things. And so many people get stuck there. Yes. That is the place you need to start.
Yeah.
And we both have containers like that. Well, I actually am just about to launch one. It's called the Prosperity Portal. It's a lower ticket one with like all these courses on the back and then live calls. So I'm like, I need to bridge the gap.
Yeah.
But then there's a point where it's like, okay, now private mentorship or now mastermind. And that's where you start to really grow and thrive. And you're becoming the hero on the hero's journey. And the mentor is there to help guide you, but not to spoon feed you because you are a powerful being. Yeah. And when I was going through this initiation, I was like still kind of like in that coaching space with people that were in higher spaces and giving them one-on-one when they weren't in that container. And I was like, I have to, now my body is like, Jill, you got to stop this because you will never have the impact you want if you're doing this. And it's not actually helping them.
It takes so much energy. And that's why like having this conversation is so empowering for both sides, whether you're a coach and a mentor and looking to change the dynamic and the energetics of your business infrastructure, like understanding the energetics at play and what the kind of client going into a teaching space where they are ready to learn what they don't know to help them bridge the gap, they are looking for the deliverables. They are looking for, they want to know, how many lessons they're going to get, how many months of access to your teachings, and they're looking at the deliverables. And so if that's the only space you've ever been in, and you've never been inside of like a high proximity, true embodied leadership space where the mentor becomes the mirror, but keeps you in your power, and you're going to have to make the decisions, and you're going to have to choose in, and you're going to have to lead and guide yourself. Sometimes the potential client doesn't understand that there is a gap. They're used to like, what am I going to get out of this? Versus the seat of the embodied leader, that's part of the initiation in bridging that gap. When you feel called and you feel that pull, like you're ready for that next level, is you're going to have to start looking at it from the position of like, you're the alchemist, you're the opportunist. And so it's not what am I going to get out of this, but what can I create inside of this space by having this kind of mentor and this kind of leader that's going to be a mirror, but allow me to stay in the seat of the driver. Like nobody else is going to steer that ship. I'm not out of integrity for you and me seeing and activating that power in you. I'm not going to overstep. I will be a mirror. I will illuminate what I see, any gaps that I see, any stickiness, any resistance, any fear that might need to be alchemized and moved through. But like, that work is yours to do. I'll, encourage you. I'll share tools, resources, strategies that supported me. But my job is to activate. As the coach and the mentor, our job, and if you're looking at this live from the perspective of the mentor, your job in those spaces is to activate. But it is the client's job to integrate.
Yes.
And I cannot integrate for you.
100%. It's so interesting because with my private mentors, sometimes they don't respond for like, well, I only have one access on like Telegram. The other one is just calls. But like when I message her, it's like she'll read it and not respond for a few days. And it's actually good because it's like, I have here's the tool, go integrate. And it forces me to do, because the investment's big too, it forces me to do the work because I have skin in the game. And that's where I almost see like the transaction for those higher level spaces. It's like we're entering a portal. Like when I just joined this mastermind, I literally just got off the call. I felt I hadn't even met the other women, and I felt the energy of the space before we even had our first call. And it was very much like, whoa, I'm now entering this new version of me. What actually doesn't align? Where am I giving my time and energy? And like that mentor said, she was like, Jill, your energy, like it, I don't know what I'm going to say this. I'm going to get shot on here. Say. She said, you're giving your energy too freely to people because your heart's so big, you're so magnetic, but like people have to work to get in your life. It is a privilege. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, oh, this is like in business. We were talking about leadership, and it's not just like a business mastermind, but I equated it to business, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's interesting because I started just teaching courses and with private clients, and then we started a mastermind. It's like the different energetic containers are very different. Like you said, the mirror, and it's like when people apply those tools, they literally thrive. But sometimes people don't realize like that gap between like, okay, I'm like in this coaching the student position to now I'm in the mastermind with people doing the work on, what can I create in this space? And it's actually the energetic transmission of the energy around us. And how I see it energetically is like, if say I'm teaching a class and I'm just giving wisdom, I'm feeding the students, right? And they're absorbing, they're taking and taking and taking. But then you enter a higher level, the mastermind or one-on-one, and now it's like two energy vortexes that are like infinitely powerful. Yeah. It's like 10x, 20x, 30x, because there's two together. Yeah. And so that requires the person, the student to integrate. It's like, here's the tool. It is bonkers to me. Sometimes like I'll give like a friend a tool. They'll like ask me a question. I'll give them a tool that's like, I would give on a private like 4-figure call. Yeah. And the person who's paying 4 figures with that tool will go and thrive. And like, whether it's a relationship, like it'll shift that, or they'll like 10x, like what they invest in that call, 20x, 100x. And then the person who I give it to for free, because they haven't gone through that sacred initiation, it's like an initiation with source. When you invest that money in yourself, it's not just going to that person. Like, it's literally you choosing you and putting skin in the game. I see it. I tell I mentor healers in building their businesses, and sometimes they feel guilty for receiving. I'm like, firstly, you have to be living at your highest frequency and supported, otherwise you're weak energetically. But secondly, see the money not coming to you, but it's literally going to source.
Yeah.
Like, that person, you have to see how it's the ultimate benefit for that person. And there is a divine law that once we've made the choice, if something's in soul alignment for soul growth, the resources appear. I've experienced this so many times when I didn't have the money.
Every time.
And it's like you make the choice and the resources appear in ways you can't expect. But people do this backwards. They're like, well, I'll join if. And I'm like, well, you're not going to get the resources already because your energy isn't in it. And so, like, when I made that investment last week, I was like, this is literally me embodying this, and I'm going to share the story, like, with that group and show them how this works in real time, because we're just a vessel for it. And if we're working for this greater mission of sovereignty, of empowerment, of people activating our guests, like both of us are, and probably all the people watching this, we're divinely supported. But the provision only comes when you start to bet on you and trust a greater power. And that's like actually the biggest thing I've learned from business, from like all my high level containers that I've invested in, is like outsource it to God. Like, make the choice, walk the path, and outsource it to God. I've done this when I've launched my retreats. Last year I had to like fill it within a week and a half. It's a long story. And I was like, what? I thought I had months. And I like literally, I did my part. I definitely did my part, but I was like, okay, source, and it filled. I'm like, help me then. Like, you wanted me to do this, and now I'm like holding everything. I'm like, I'm not holding it. And it filled. And so this is the power we have. And it's also, in my experience, requires a lot of courage. It's scary.
It's scary, and it will activate. It's like you have to be able to hold the activation and hold the fear. What's funny is I did join the mastermind at that conference that we went to.
Yeah.
And I felt it. I felt the ping the first day, and I was like, okay, source. And I started this is like, we're still human, right? Like, we're mentors, and we still are initiated into this process. And I think the resistance came from, I've already invested. So I'm the same as you. I'm usually in at least 2 containers at any given time, oftentimes like really, really close proximity, one-on-one or one to few, and then like some larger containers. And so this year, I've already passed my threshold of like the most I've ever invested in myself, plus making all of these large investments around like shifting, because my whole business needed an energetic upgrade and I need to practice what I preach. And so it's like, oh no, we're scaling. So this is what we're doing. So I'm pouring, right? I'm giving. And I'm also like, as I'm rebirthing, there's lapses because old containers are expiring and no longer for me. So there's like these lapses in some of that, like those streams of revenue. And I'm like, and I trust, I'm fine. And trusting this process, but still giving and giving and giving. So I felt the ping the first day, and I was like, okay, well then just like slide in another one-on-one client in my inbox before I leave if you want me to do this. I immediately started the negotiate, like, let me negotiate with God for a minute. And then I saw it and I was like, Nick, like, I see you. And I was like, okay, but like, give me a minute. I'm an emotional authority. Like, let me ride my emotional wave for a second, because like I've already moved beyond so many edges this year, but isn't that the way? I also know the call and what is coming. And so I also know what is being asked of me, that I have to have more skin in the game and move beyond these edges at a faster rate than I ever have before. And so then the second day I'm like sitting there and it's all business strategy stuff, which like I love, it's fun, but it's also, tends to be more masculine. And I'm like tearing up during these business transmissions that have absolutely nothing to do with the business and everything to do with the fact that I knew what I needed to do and I hadn't done it yet. And this energy and this pressure was just like building up in me. So like I went out and I was like, okay, no, like I need to do this, but I just like needed to like process it and speak it. And I went outside, called my husband, had a good cry, like literally had to like cry about it, not like just to like process and move the emotion and the resistance that I was moving through. Like I needed to release it from my eyeballs. And then went back in, signed up. And as soon as I sat down, it was like all of that pressure. And I literally felt the timeline shift. like
Yes.
in real time, that the transformation was in it. And we had just had that conversation. I think
Oh
that
my
was
God.
the same day where it's like that. So we were having this conversation and I was like, this conversation is also for me. And so it was that the transformation starts at the transaction. It starts when you choose in. And so to like practice that so many times this year as I'm birthing new high proximity containers that are going to require my clients to be initiated in the very same way, and also shift from I'm not looking for deliverables, like I am the deliverable.
Yes.
You know, like
that. Because there's literally an energetic shift I'm so glad you followed your intuition. Like, because when you feel the pull, here's a crazy story actually that's going to illuminate this for people. When you feel the pull, there will be, I'm not saying rely on signs because they don't like signs, but what is meant for you will find you. So I came back from LA. There was a woman who spoke at that conference and I actually missed her speech. I've been following her for years, almost joined a container a few years ago. I came back from a different conference in LA and she had a free masterclass that I missed. And so I'm like having dinner. It had been a crazy day because I landed. We had been up since like 5, and then I had like calls. I had a call with my OBM who's like across seas, and like I was prepping for this thing I was launching the next day. It was a lot. So I was like, whatever, I'm gonna listen to this. I got goosebumps, which is like a yes. Like it's like there's something here for me. Didn't even listen to the full thing. I was like, I'm joining her year-long course. And then I get the email about like the mastermind the next day, and then I got imposter syndrome because I'm like, these are like 7 to 9 figure entrepreneurs, like female entrepreneurs, and like like I said, the mastermind's not just about like business, but like it was interesting because I knew at that conference I was like, I actually need to join a higher caliber thing because I'm in other communities and I've been in masterminds, but firstly I knew it needed to be female. Secondly, I knew because the male bro kind of code is very different, and I was like, I need to be around people who are stretching me because I wasn't being stretched in the community I'm in. Like I was kind of like always, I don't want to say the leader, but like, you know, I've been doing this a while and like I've followed my soul pull when it's scary, like moved to Cyprus in the Mediterranean, had no money, like somehow a check of the exact amount, a little bit more, dropped in my inbox, from an old acting commercial when I was an actor, like 2 years later, and like right after I made the choice. So I've been following, like I have not been playing safe for the last 7 years. It's like really been soul guidance and like this is scary. And my business, I guess, for like 3.5 years we've been incorporated, but I was doing Reiki and whatnot before that. And so like I was like, okay, like now I've gotten to the point where I was around people that I love so dearly, but I'm like, I need to be stretched. Like, and then the imposter syndrome, I'm like, oh, my business isn't at 9 figures. It's not even at 7 figures yet. And I kept saying that's what I desire to scale to. And I had a teacher tell me like, you got to do more. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. So I'm sitting there, and then I tuned in that mastermind. I was like, that's a vibe. Like that's such a good community. I probably will join at some point. But I'm like, this isn't what it is for me right now. Right. And then when I listened to that masterclass of that woman, I forgot she spoke there. Yeah. And she was like one of the women that I missed the first day because I wasn't feeling well. A, my throat, B, I hadn't really slept because of the flight situation. So I left like an hour and a half early. And then I'm like, oh, this is the one. And like, there were some things that when I was like traveling that were like, Jill, we're pushing you into this like now. Yeah. Am I really going to wait another year? Mm-hmm. And then I'm thinking I'm crazy because I'm like, I already have mentors and I'm already at the school and I'm already like you said, like invested so much. Right. I'm like, I've already done so much. Like, you really want me to invest more? Like sometimes it's like, I can't talk to people about how much I invest because it's like, I'm investing more in my business than like most people are making in a year per year. And they're like, what? And they're like, how did that money come? I'm like, it comes after you make the choice. Yeah. Like this is we understand quantum reciprocity, that like it literally can't, and we're in the seat of our power being the alchemist. And so we make the choice. It's that faith before form, energy precedes matter. We understand that the choice and the action has to come first because that's what moves us into the timeline where that reciprocity comes to us. But how many people are waiting?
and
Exactly.
or like logically negotiating, like,
Oh
am I
God.
going to get enough out of this? Like, what,
Yeah.
bitch, you're in the
And
driver's
okay,
seat. Like,
that's the thing. It's this so simple, like these high level, like guys, my business is not at 9 figures a year, but when I'm like sitting in a room with people who have created that, or like even 7 figures is like the norm, the conversation is so simple.
yeah,
The higher the caliber, the more simple the conversation, the more direct. And I know when somebody messages me, what are all the deliverables? What's on each? I'm like, I already know that it's not. I don't want to say it's not fit because there are places for that, but I'm like, they're not ready for the higher level stuff. And so, like,
energetically, the price point is the boundary of who you're
yes,
going to call in, and the people who understand the energetics around it, that transaction is also the energetic boundary of who gets to enter this space, and how do they see, are they still, if they're still in the seat of the student and they're not ready to be initiated into that, like, that's what that barrier is there for.
yeah,
And it also holds the integrity of the space, that you're
yeah,
going to be able to call in the same caliber of women that everybody is feeding. And so it's not like, I've been in those circles and spaces as well, where it's like, it's just, you're almost in the space and you're doing a lot of support in
you're
the
giving to
circle
everybody. Yes,
instead
they're
of
like,
being
and
on the
they're
receiving
asking
end.
me, and they're my peers, and I love them, but like, I am a coach and a mentor. I'm not in this space, and it's just, it feels like leechy energy, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, I love what you said. Like, it's like a filtering fee,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of like a country club. Like, it's like it's obviously it's different, but it's like people like country club, that's so snooty. Like, I joined a country club. It's like a gym as well in a city I don't even live in, but I spend like a good portion of my time there. My family is there, and it was coming down to the wire of like whether I was not going to be able to join, because if you don't join by a certain age, like you can't. They're full. And people are like, the amount of like investment, they're like, why would you do that? I'm like, because I want to be around that caliber of people. We become who we're around. And it was so bonkers. The day I joined this other mastermind, it was like, and this happens when I sign up with a one-on-one mentor, it's like all of a sudden you see what's no longer resonant with where you're going, and it becomes easy to leave versus like, oh, the elastic band effect of like, oh, I'm going to lose them, because you're like, I'm not losing anyone. I'm only going to gain. Like, I need to open my space to people that are actually in full alignment and on this mission, and who are gonna like energy the energy, amplify the energy, versus like you said, in certain containers where you're like the one who like has had more experience or whatnot, or initiated yourself through life.
Yeah.
And then you're giving to people in a space that you're meant to grow in. Like, the energetics don't work, and I totally get that, because that's exactly where I kind of was in, and I like, how do I get out of this? And I'm like, oh, I got to surround myself with peers who like I'm gonna have to recalibrate to meet them, and that's
It's
exciting.
your identity upgrade, and you have to choose first.
Yes.
You have to be like, I have graduated from this space, served, like, thank God, but like, I have to recalibrate. I have to get in different rooms. I have to invest more than I've ever invested before to be in the same space. And on the receiving end, on the coach or mentor, the business owners end, the way that those spaces give me the most life, because those energetic boundaries get to be held through that transaction. So like, not only am I actually getting paid more, am I receiving more energy through actual monetary payment, but the caliber of women that I get to sit amongst, I am stretched. I have to keep, in order to lead and hold this space, I have to keep raising. I have to keep investing. They stretch me, and they hold each other. Like, the container starts to become that much more self-sustained because of the caliber of women that you're calling into that space. And so you're not calling in the women who have outgrown that. They're going to be in one-on-one mentorship with the 9-figure entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to keep doing their thing too. And it's not better than or less. It's just like different, and those identity upgrades. So as we upgrade our identity and we raise our prices, we stand more fully in our value, we create this self-feeding ecosystem that serves everybody. It serves the highest good of the client because of the level of initiation and then the caliber of women that are going to be in that space to support people to where they actually want to go and what they're actually choosing into.
100%. And it's like, it becomes a creator energy versus a consumer.
Yes.
Like and that's where I think the feminine especially thrives, because we get depressed when we don't create. I was traveling for 2 weeks at 2 conferences, and I was like, when I came back to work, I was like, that was fun. And like, I think I get depressed when I'm not working, because like the life force energy is the energy of creation. And so, it just becomes like a powerful vortex. And like, here's one thing that's coming through, because I can hear people's thoughts, whether it's like on the live or like people watching this later. Yes, I'm an intuitive, so
it's going to come through.
It's going to come through. Is that, well, you got to keep investing. Like, when does it end? And like, it's money, guys, is not a zero-sum game. There is an infinite amount of money. You have to look at it like energy. And it comes from source. Mm-hmm. It comes from God, okay? So when we're relying and we're like, oh, I'm going to have to work so much harder for it, it's like, no, actually, you're going to have to work less hard for it, because your energy is different, and you can magnetize that, and now you have source on your side, God on your side, because you're actually walking the path.
It's co-creation in that energy. But if you choose, if you believe, if you participate with the reality and the belief systems, and you feed that belief system that like, the only way I'm going to be able to pay for this is to like work harder for it, you also will create that reality. Like, that's the path. You're like kind of cock blocking source. You know what I mean? Where you're like, hey, I have to do this all by myself, instead of like, I choose into this with radical trust and co-creation, and literally like, I am open. That's the feminine, right? The masculine's like, I need to, but the feminine is like, I am open to receive. I'm open to co-creating.
Yeah. And I think there's like a humbleness in my experience needed in that, because it's like, I give so much of the credit for like what I've created to source, to God. Like, I, Jill, am like the vessel, but I can't be like, I created all that. It's like, or like I was the one who did all the work. I showed up and did the work, but there is a greater power that's working through me, that's working through you, that, like you said, is in co-creation. I think some people aren't willing to be radically humbled by this path and by source, to realize you are held, and also like, you got to show up and do your part, even when it's scary. Like, even talking, like I'm an introvert, and like, we're both here talking right now, you know what I mean? This isn't comfortable, but it's for a greater purpose. And it's so synchronistic, because I'm running like a teaching container right now, and it's a lower ticket one called Soul Sale September, and they're now doing an offer and a challenge, and people are like so afraid to put it out there. And I'm like, I know it's scary. I'm like, I've been doing this for years, and it's still uncomfortable, but you have to do it for a greater purpose, and realize that it has nothing to do with you. And where are you looking for validation in, like, oh, I created this solo, or and source didn't help, or God didn't help, or team didn't help. Like, I used to have that. I am so hardworking, and it was like a badge on my back, that like the slave code of like suffering, and sacrifice, and like, oh God, thank God those are clear. I mean,
it's a part of the journey, it's a part of the process, and we wouldn't be here in a different energy if we wouldn't have experienced the contrast of going. I think it's an initiation that almost everybody's going to experience and resonate with, of like the work, the grit, the like, I'm doing this by my damn self to like, look what I can do, versus like, I'm like, oh no, this is source. Look at the miracles, look at the magic. Like, I didn't do this, I'm just a match for it. I did the work to be a match for it.
Yes.
That's my claim to fame. That's my badge, because I did the work to be a match for magic.
Yes. The inner work, the like you said, like the activation, the shadow work, because we're an energetic match to everything. And like what Nikki's talking about, when you enter certain portals, your whole energy shifts. So now you're a match to different things. And anything that's not a match to that will start to get dissolved out of your life.
Yeah.
And I think this is why sometimes we get scared when we're like, hey, no, this is the thing. And I'm trusting source that the resources are coming if they're not already here. But it's like our ego knows that certain parts of ourselves have to die, like the fawn response or the people pleaser.
Yep.
And like the person who likes to keep the peace, like that version literally has to die, because that can't, certain energetics or the shame or the guilt, those can't, when we're embodied in our leadership and our purpose, certain energetics have to literally dissolve out of our
They
field.
cannot come with you to the next iteration. They can't.
Yeah, it's an ego death. It's literally a cellular death. Like it feels like your body's like reverberating. You're like, but it's energy transmuting, and that's the death and rebirth. I was wearing earrings earlier, literally about death and rebirth, but I switched them. But it's like that's the constant thing on this, and you know what's coming to mind? Like listening to those stories at the conference, they all kind of had the same theme. It was this cycle of death and rebirth. And like, I remember that woman who spoke and she was having $1 million years. I forgot her name, but so powerful. And then she made that one investment. She was like making investments, but they were like 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. She's like, I need to make like
a 6-figure investment.
Like a 6-figure investment. And so she did. And then she had $1 million month. It was because she put her skin in the game and became that new version of herself with a higher ticket investment. Now, I'm not saying go do that when you're like, you're making
right.
Like
she had $1 million years, so that was,
Yeah, there's like steps to this, but like make an investment that your soul feels called to if you want to get to the next level.
Yeah.
If you want to build a soul line business, if you want to impact a lot of people, like so many people, I'm curious if people tell you this, like you're so lucky. Like people are always like, you're so lucky, Jill. I'm like, okay, I am, and I'm not. I created this.
Yes.
I walk the path every single day.
Even when it's really hard.
It's so hard. The easy thing would have been to stay in corporate. The easy thing even would have been to stay in acting. Like I devoted 10 years of my life to that. The easy thing would have been, to like stay in a comfortable job. But my soul was dying when I was trying to do that. And that was not going to be okay with me.
Right.
So it might look like luck, and I've had so many miracles. Like I have so many miracles all the time. And the best part of this path, personally, the manifestations is like the healing with my family. Like I manifested a horseback riding trip with my mom in January with my favorite actress, the craziest way it happened. But like I healed the lineage trauma with both my parents. And so that is like the biggest gift for me. And so, yeah, sure, I'm lucky because I'm so lucky. I'm going on this trip. I'm so lucky that my mom, we had 3 generations of dance parties that I literally dreamed of as a kid. I'm so lucky that I flew to Egypt and I got upgraded to first class from like premium economy, which they don't do. But what people don't see is we get rewarded for the work we do in private. In public, we get rewarded. So even the manifestations or the money or the resources or the provision, that's not just like given to, it's given to anybody when we walk the walk.
Yeah, we all have access to the same source. So it's like you're not any luckier than anybody else. You just participate with it. And you understand the law of reciprocity. And you understand that the call and the mission and the purpose is bigger than just you. It is for the collective. And when you understand and you can tune into that kind of like, we were like, I get depressed when I don't work. People think that to have a business that's growing as rapidly and is scaling as rapidly as our businesses are, that it takes a lot of energy. But I'm like, literally, I've never been more alive. Why? Because this is bigger than me. And I'm not just, it's not Nick's human that's birthing this. It is moving through me through source. I have my ancestors literally like rallying and raging through me because there's a bigger mission. It's a revolution truly of like, we are here to create change. We are light beings. Anyone watching this is a light being with a bigger call and a bigger path, which is going to require greater energetic investment, greater faith before form. That energy precedes matter. It's going to require more of that, bigger bigger, braver, bolder actions. We're going to have to stop diluting our fire. We're going to have to stop diluting our message and our truth. And we're going to have to more fully embody that and trust our power to call back and receive what is ours, what is our birthright. And that's going to come back as we honor our yeses of like, okay, this doesn't make sense energetically to invest in this way, but I cannot unfeel what is happening. That you can feel the portal as you approach it. Like where I was like, that last investment, I'm like, hot damn, like I've invested 4 times what I did last year, this year, and it's only September. Like 4 times what I did last year. And I'm like, hot damn, that's an edge. And I'm like, so what's next year going to be? Like where am I going to be in a year, and what am I going to be called forward into? But when the call is bigger than you, then the reciprocity also is. But you have to participate with it. But everybody has access to the same source. Nobody's like more lucky. We just participate with that timeline. We participate. We are a match for magic because we understand that the call is bigger than us.
Yeah. I love that. And you're gonna, no, I was gonna say 400x. No, it's gonna be like 4,000x.
Yes.
The times that have been stretched the most, and like, actually, there was a business coach who was there, who I had it a few years ago, and it was like I was paying almost 10 grand a month, guys, like for my coach, never mind my team.
Right.
I didn't know how I was gonna pay her every month. I didn't know how I was gonna pay my team. I didn't know how I was gonna pay rent, and it always came. And then when our container closed, it was a couple months later, my business 400%ed like overnight, but it wasn't overnight. So like there's like a bell curve that I see when we like invest and show up for it too, not like entitlement, but showing up. It goes, so like I just see your business like exploding to like crazy levels. I have a question for you.
Yes.
Firstly, keep the fire. I love the fire. That's probably why we became friends. Like all here for the fire. I'm very quiet sometimes, but
but there's fire. It's like everybody's fire is manifested differently. Yes.
And we need that. It's the third chakra. It's the third energy center. It's the center of will. It's the center of boundaries. It's the center of I'm going to take action. It's the center of I am going to protect like my mission.
Yes.
My family, my community. It's important. Like sacred rage, man. Oh, we love it.
I know.
Okay, so
it's actually like my favorite. I'm like, no, I can hold rage. Like, please. Like when I see someone's like spice or like, and I'm like, there's so much power in this, and let's move this directionally. Like alchemize through service, through purpose, through your power, through your channel, through your vessel. Like, can we get louder with it, please?
Yes. And it's like, I was having a conversation with 2 of my friends the other day, and I pulled a card I don't really use decks, but I use this one deck. It's a shamanic deck. And the card was passion. And basically, I'm like, oh, you're being called to like transmute your rage to passion. He was like, a lot of people tell me like I have anger problems. And I'm like, no, it's not a problem. It's just that you have it locked up. Now it's coming out in forwarded ways. Like you gotta transmute it. And we were like talking at dinner with a few of us like about sacred rage. And like I was like, look, I sent him a video. I went to this event a couple years ago. I went to like so many somatic retreats, which is like what I facilitate as well. But I was working through a lot of rage because I was a lot kind of unraveled of where there was deep deception in a relationship and a community. And anyways, so I'm like, look. People used to tell me I had anger problems, and I transmuted it into passion. And now people tell me I'm too passionate about my business. And I showed them a video of this event, like some on this like women's page. And they were like, oh my God, that's like so powerful. And they're like, oh, you know this woman? And I was like, yeah, like you have to realize that that's where your power is. Like that's where our fire is. That's where we're activated. That's the first basically like activation that's going to make you move. But we have to understand that like sacred rage is just that, it's sacred. Like, are we allowing ourselves to realize a boundary has been crossed, something's off, whether it's in humanity or in your personal life? That's why the rage is there. So then go transmute it, and then turn that after it's transmuted into passion, and that's your purpose. There's a reason it's activating because something is off, and your purpose is calling you to do something about that. But you must first transmute it. Okay, my question is, forgot my question. Hang on, it'll come back. Oh, what do you think about oh, I've had anger, rage showing up. I love that. Turn it into passion. Yes, transmute it.
The
I
purpose.
use breathwork
It's
for
a
this
part of your
too.
magnetism too. Because like those boundaries, it's like so many of us are being too neutral and watering things down to be a peacekeeper instead of being the firekeeper of ourselves. But that like this says, this is what I stand for. This is what I will tolerate, and this is what I won't. And like when you actually stand for something in your truth, you become a magnet. Like they don't understand that a magnet requires polarization. It
Yeah.
requires you choosing into something and standing for something. And that requires like, this is what I will tolerate and this is what I will not. So it makes you that much more pungent and potent of a magnet when that's part of the transmutation is like, you have to see it. You have to acknowledge it. You have to actually embody that and not like eat it with shame, but like, okay, fire. Oh, I see you. That is a hell no, or that is a hell yes. And that's like a part of, okay, now how can I breathe that energy, that aliveness? Because whether it's showing up as rage or it's showing up as passion, that aliveness in our body and in our bones, if it's showing up as anger and rage, especially like suppressed or misdirected, distorted, if you will, that's going to burn you out and it's going to burn other people. That's the only time fire like burns you out or burns other people, because it's not it's sustainable. It's not been alchemized. We alchemize it. That's literally like, that's how I have the energy to do what people are like, how do you? And I'm like, how do I not? Like, and I have so much spaciousness and I'm super efficient at what I do because I allow this passion, this life force energy, and I stand for something. And that's like, that's me, that I will not, I can't not live for anybody else. Like I can't not, I have to be true to my truth, period. And I stand for something. I stand for me. I stand for truth, your truth. I stand for full expression, and I will not be put in a box. I will not be tamed. I will not be, but that's my boundary. And I learned that through rage, of the ways in which people in my reality tried to confine me and tell me that I was too much. I'm like, that thing that you think you're too much of, or you're too quiet, or you're too loud, like that is your superpower. That is your fire. That is your spice. That is what sets your business apart from anyone else's business. But you got to be able to hold it. You got to be able to access it and then transmute it through sacred service.
Because people, firstly, Nikki, that was gold, like literally gold. And you're right, that's what moves us. And when we're being that too much, like the biggest wound of the feminine is being too much. I know I have it. Like, and I'm like, whoa.
New layers.
It's like, I've been in relationships before that feel like I'm in a straitjacket, or like communities that are like, don't be too much, or don't have discernment, or don't like, and no is like one of the most magnetic words. The more I say no, it's like the more magnetic I become. I'm like, dang, I had it all backwards for so long. But that's it. We have to be able to hold it. And that means the daggers that are thrown at us, because they do come. The more we stand for something, some people are going to be, yes, on board, and other people are going to be threatened by our truth, what we see, what we perceive, because when you speak truth in a field of distortion, the lies begin to crumble. It illuminates the truth, and that's a threat to a lot of structures that are at play in humanity. I feel this leaving my marriage brought out a whole new marriage of myself. I love that. Okay, I remember my question.
Okay.
What are your views on safety with like, a lot of people are like, oh, I just like need to feel safe making that investment. I just need to feel safe before I start my business. I just need to feel safe. Like even like more money is going to make me feel safe. It won't.
Right. I think we need to change the narrative around regulation. There's so much conversation where like, it's like, yes, we have to work with our human form. And so we have to understand the nervous system and work with it. But what I'm like, we need to change the narrative. Regulation is not just like being in our parasympathetic rest and digest state all the time. It's literally like a workout. A workout is the actual work, the actual action, the actual choice, the discomfort is required and necessary to actually stretch and grow. So while if that's all we're ever doing, yes, we're going to end up burnt out, right? Because we're not ever giving ourselves the spaciousness and the opportunity to come back down. But the number of decisions like I had to go with this investment. I had to go outside. I had to cry. I had to feel my feelings. I had to be activated, and I had to make the damn decision activated.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then the regulation was on the other side of the
Yes.
reprieve of that pressure. Of like the pressure and the activation was actually because it was less about the money. Because again, I'm like, it wasn't my greatest investment. It just was the most that I've invested in a year's time.
Yeah.
Where I thought I'd already like, I'm like, oh, I'm already in containers for the year. I'm safe the rest of the year. And the universe was like, no, you're not. And so, but it wasn't the money. It was the portal that I was entering in the way in which I was being stretched. And I had to make the decision activated.
Yeah.
And then the regulation actually came because my soul could settle my physical body of like, we're in the path.
Yeah.
And so the more that like we expand our capacity by actually experiencing dysregulation and finding safety being dysregulated.
Yes.
Like the only way we grow and then can come like learn how to come back down is by also learning to hold what we can hold. Where you were like, even on that conference where you're like, my plan was and no sleep and my throat and like all these activations, and I had a thing that I was creating and like all of this simultaneously. That's the portal that I've been inside of as I've been creating this. Is so much is happening in my home and in my field, and like my children are heading on their own paths, and like I'm gonna like be an empty nester soon, and like they're making really hard decisions that I want to control, and I want like seeing areas where I need to like deepen and soften to surrender, and trusting source to guide them on their path and let them make their decisions. And so there's all of this. And this last minute, that conference I wasn't planning on going to. I bought my ticket 6 days before because it literally, it just like dropped in. It was like, you're going to have resistance and you need to go. And I was like, okay, yes, like I answer, I hear you, I feel the resistance, but I'm gonna choose in. And then I end up being there, and all of this, but I'm like, I'm holding a lot, dude. Like, you really want me to leave and travel right now, last minute, invest even more. And then I get there and it's like, and invest even more. And like, I've got all of these projects and moving pieces in my life, but also like, so yes, there was times where like my nervous system was dysregulated. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Downloads were coming in at that time. So people are like, if you wake up at 3 a.m., it's cortisol. And I'm like, and what if that is serving us? Like, what if I'm like, because I'm quiet. And so when I say I channel, like I got my best ideas sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm waking up because my cortisol is high, because I am expanding my capacity in real time to hold. Like, what if we change the story and the narrative around it, that it's not a bad thing, that we're literally just actively being stretched, which means there is reciprocity on the other side of it. And ground yourself the best that you can. Use tools, resources, your breath, Mother Nature, like do what you need to do to support your nervous system doing that. But you're going to have to do it scared. There are things that you're going to have to do dysregulated. It's like if my kid hurts themselves and I have to take them to the hospital. Like my body is going to have a sympathetic response. 100%. But I can still stay anchored and feel safe having a sympathetic response.
Yes.
Does that make sense? Like, it's like the difference between the word safety, feeling safe being dysregulated, versus I need to be regulated in order to be safe.
Yes. And I so agree. That's why I asked the question, because I think there's a massive distortion right now with the nervous system. Like, I work a lot with the nervous system, but it's like this, let's just put ourselves in a box and feel safe all the time, and that's like the key. And then people are like not doing anything, and our soul doesn't grow when in safety. We don't grow in safety. And so when we tether the nervous system, we go to dysregulation a little bit and then a little bit more. Can we hold our power in that duality? And the truth of the matter is, the more a business expands, the more money that comes in that you're now managing and allocating and circulating, the deeper a relationship goes, the more community members you're building. Your nervous system needs to expand to hold that, even facilitating a retreat. I remember years ago, the first time I taught Reiki by myself, I was in bed. It was a one day. I just taught level 1 and then the following week, level 2. I was in bed for like 2 days after the first time. I didn't have the capacity. Now I can run a 4-day retreat as a projector for multiple hours a day, channeling, doing shamanic breath work. I call it Jai breath work now, activations, holding the space, like doing somatic practices. And it's like, yes, I am tired after, and usually like I'm like shaking a little bit after like the 4 days, and I'm like, I need like a couple of days off. But I had to build my capacity to do that. I had to build my capacity to be able to hold and steward more wealth.
Yeah.
That I remember the biggest month I've had to date, my nervous system got shot out. I didn't know how to circulate it magically. I just like crashed. And I was like, whoa, this is like a muscle. And now I've like built that capacity to greater levels. So like when big months come in, I can steward that money.
Yeah.
Same thing with deepening in a relationship. Like there's a depth, and your nervous system has to be able to hold that. So many people are like, I can't connect with my partner or even my friends on like, it's like so superficial. I'm like, intimacy, into me, you see. You need to go out of your comfort zone. It's going to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. There's going to be some activations.
Yes.
That's the point.
Exactly. And it's just energy moving through the body. And so I think it's just like so many people are kind of getting entrapped in this. I need to be fully safe. Firstly, safety is an illusion. It's an illusion. How can we find our courage and our safety within our body when everything exteriorly, we're not in control of it? And how can we act in response instead of react to things that happen? And like my experience, at least on entrepreneurship, is that when I'm too comfortable, it's not like, it feels like Danielle, hi babe. When I'm too comfortable, I feel like my soul is like almost dying. It's like
literally.
And I'm like, that's why I made that investment last week. It was like soul pull, yes, activation, yeah, oh, this is scary. And I was like, Jill, you're too comfortable. Like I've been too comfortable for a few months.
Yeah.
Probably half of a year. And like, I mean, it was great and I got a little bit more grounded, but I'm like, I'm playing small in my soul mission. Like I'm very blessed because I meet a lot of people that become clients or students, you know, like on the street, at the dog park, like the weirdest ways, referrals.
It's embodiment. That's what happens.
Yeah. Hi, Adam. But then it's like, how many people am I not even fulfilling my sacred soul contracts with because I'm afraid to come out and be like, I'm a shamanic healer, because people have called me crazy. My family's called me crazy, like, you know, and then they ask me how I do it. Or like I do shadow work. I help people access their power and potential and purpose through shadow work. Like, oh, what does that mean? That's weird. You're weird. Get away. Like you're wearing weird, like Native American earrings, or like you're like, I've gotten made fun of so many times for like
for your
peep out. And like, I'm like, you know what? This is who I am. It's literally in my blood. And it's my soul mission. And if you don't understand, that's fine. I don't need to prove myself to you anymore. But I realized there was so much shame for me just coming out and saying that. So it was like, I am a spiritual teacher and like all love and light. I'm like, no, I do shadow work. I actually more imprints. And like, I think whether you're going and doing an Instagram live or you're speaking your truth of what you do, maybe you're an intuitive, maybe you're a healer, maybe you're a coach, maybe you're a mentor, maybe you are, I don't know, you make beautiful paintings out of, I was looking at one from Egypt that I forgot. It's like with this thing, but whatever you do, where do you have shame about it and you're not coming out about your gifts?
Right.
And being too comfortable, whether it's with an investment or like, I've done a number of Instagram lives recently because I'm like, ooh, that's not comfortable for me. It's not comfortable for me to say no either, because what if people get angry at me? And the more I've done that, I'm like, oh, I remember who I am. I remember my mission. My soul is expanding. I feel fulfilled. Like all
that magnetism, because you're saying no to like what actually is not for you. So naturally, you also get that reciprocity. If you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. So you're creating that space for that to come in. And I also think the other side of this conversation too is when you are stretching yourself. That's also like, for me anyways, I'm always like, how can I feel supported in this? Yes. What can make this feel easier? And being inside of high proximity containers and making that investment to have that alone, to have that sense of safety, and to be like, I'm not willing to be the floor in a room full of I'm like, no, I'm going to raise my thermostat and I'm going to match your freak. And
Yes.
so like it's just something like, it's a no for me, dog. Like I'm not going to be down there. I'm going to rise to thrive, and I'm
Yes.
going to show all the way up. So for me to feel supported and to feel safety and create proof that it's safe to be myself and to be more fully expressed, I put myself around people who are doing it too. And that alone creates a little more, a deeper anchor as you're being stretched. So it's like, if you're, uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, put yourself in rooms and spaces where other people who are more familiar with being stretched in such a great capacity, and like feed off of them. And your calibration, this is physics. You can't not.
Yeah.
You can't not raise to meet the vibes of the spaces and the environments you put yourself in.
100%. And it's like, do you trust source? Do you trust God? Do you trust yourself to show up and do the work too? That's the deeper. It's like when we make these bigger investments, for example, or we're like, I'm going to shift my identity and now actually become an identity similar to this container that it's like is gonna allow me to grow as an entrepreneur, as a partner, as a wife, like whatever the space is, and as a healer even. And am I going to trust that there is a greater intelligence that I speak about and I teach on that is going to hold me?
Yeah.
And every single time I do that, I build a deeper trust with source. And then people, Amanda Francis, I remember, she was like, it's just me and God. Like, that's why people pissed off at me, blah, blah, blah. And like all the things she said, but like the people who last in the industry are those who have a deeper relationship with God, with source. And I believe that to be true as well. And then another thing, like you're saying, that safety net for people who are like, what do you mean by that? What she means is that we become who we're around. We literally energetically calibrate to them. We start to think like them, act like them, be like them. And I watched my middle brother for years. Everybody thought he was crazy. He grew up around massive wealth. He went to a boarding school and his friends, like very, very, very well off. So he started to think like them. He also has a very strong self-worth. And so, when they were like after college and like they went to college together and he worked for one of his best friend's dad, who owns this huge real estate, well, he's passed now, but he used to own this huge real estate company in Canada. And like, his best friend became a multimillionaire, like very young. And so my brother started thinking like him, acting like him, being like him. He like, took out mortgages for houses, started renting them. My oldest brother was like, he's stupid, like blah, blah, blah. But
Gonna burn
somehow
him.
my middle brother always got what he wanted. He always had the funds to do what he wanted. He was literally manifesting with it. He doesn't like that word. He's like, that's woo, I don't know what you're talking about. Because I was trying to explain what I do, and I'm like, how you grew up around all these people who were like very wealthy, and you start to think like them, act like them, be like them. He also joined country clubs in cities he doesn't live in, which is why I'm inspired to do the same.
Yeah.
Because I watched him, and I thought he was stupid for so long and crazy. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I teach people that now. And I put them in high proximity containers and masterminds. And I basically guide them to that we become who we're around and that we create our own reality. And like, he's like, yeah, and you have to be so careful who you're around. Like, my circle is like, he is such a solid circle. And now he's absolutely killing it. He has such an amazing job that he created at this company, doing massive business deals. We were in Hawaii and there was a client that happened to live a couple blocks away and was going to take him to pickleball and talk about this like massive business deal. I saw him post this other one, like drinking wine on the couch. I'm like, and then he has all this real estate that he's like renting out. And I'm like, he knew what was up. He was working with the quantum field.
Yep.
He literally knew there was infinite possibility and nothing was going to tell him otherwise, because the people around him were living that reality.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, it's the mastermind consciousness. He's applying the same tools, as is basically anybody who's really succeeding in business, whether they know about manifestation, the quantum field, infinite potential, all of these things.
Yeah.
We become who we're around. You ask anybody successful in business, entrepreneurship, even relationships, it's like, one thing I've had to look at for full vulnerability is like, who am I allowing into my field? And like, calling in my true divine partner, do certain energies that I allowed in my field, even just as friends, do they align with actually what I want? Are they safe to have around? Are they supportive? And it's been very, it's been, I don't want to say shocking, but it's like, ooh, confronting. And it's hard because you're like, I love these people and they're amazing. And like, if I'm saying, am I speaking with my feet? If I'm saying I want this one thing, and I'm allowing like this, like, really leaky energy. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but very much like just open energy, like polyamory type vibes. I'm like, I don't even know if I want that as friends in my field. I'm not judging. I have so much love.
Different energy, judgment versus discernment of what is actually for you and supportive of you and your path. Yeah.
Because it's going to code me to that mindset, that energy. And I already know that's definitely not what I want. I've already experienced something similar to that in the past, and that was not it. And so it's like whether like, I just think masterminds and high level like containers, mentorship is literally the key. I was so afraid of talking about this for so long. I've been investing for years in mentors, but I'm like, no, we need to have this conversation. Because so many people, I see so many people who are like, but they're like trying to find the way, and they're not betting on themselves, and they don't have accountability, and they don't actually have a community that's going to hold them accountable and support them through that. And they're just elastic banding to the norm. But
they're homeostasis. Yeah.
Yes, we're here for homeostasis. I remember somebody talking, just like, I'm just going to absorb the quotes and homeostasis. And then I had a 6-figure month. I didn't really come to the calls. It was just in like the chat. And I'm like, this is how it works.
That's what happened.
And like, whether you're spiritual or not, like, it doesn't matter. This is literally science.
Yeah.
And even the mindset of, I don't want to get left behind.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're like, I don't want to be what did you say?
I'm unavailable to be the like floor in the room of ceilings. Like, if people are up here doing this, like, I'm not going to be the small fish in the pond. I just like, for me, that's a boundary. It's something that like kind of talking about like there's a shadow to that too, but like, there's also a power to that where like, I'm going to alchemize this, and I'm going to stand like, no, I'm just like not available to be that. It lights me up to be stretched in that capacity. And I know my capacity to rise in a room, which is why I will continue to raise the bar, and I will continue to invest in myself, like not only for myself, but also the greater impact of my own service, of the way that I can serve and I can give that back, because I am not settling and I am stretching. I'm raising my capacity, which expands my capacity to help others expand their capacity. And the ripples of that is what's actually going to change the world. Everybody's like so afraid. I'm like, I'm not afraid. I'm not going to feed fear. I'm not afraid for the world, because I know my power. And that's not a hierarchical thing. That's I know my power, which means I know your power and I know your potential. And so like, I'm going to hold that. I'm not going to feed into the fear, but like, you better believe that when I feel activated by the world around me, I'm going to alchemize that, and I'm going to turn that into greater passion and greater service. And like, hey, God, use me, source, use me, spirit, use me. Like, I am your hands. And if that means I have to stretch, and I have to raise the bar, and I have to raise the standards, like, that's alchemy as well. Like, I'm like, we can alchemize through service. We can alchemize through raising our standards. We can alchemize by living louder in our true authentic frequency, using our voice and refusing to be silenced. All of these things are alchemy, and that actually creates safety, that creates peace. It's like, this is a revolution, but it's peaceful. By making peace with our flame, making peace with us, as we make peace with us, we create peace in the other, period. Because we become a safe space for someone else's expression, which then dissolves shame entirely. Like, that energetic cannot exist in peace and safety when we have that within ourselves.
Yes, because you're driven by love. And the soul path is the path of potentials. Like, reaching our potentials, that is the soul path. And I don't think the expansion ever ends. I think it continues. And every time you said the word settling, I'm so glad you said that. Every time we settle or we sacrifice, we literally abandon a piece of our soul, and our light body gets left in that experience, and we lose our energetic power. We lose our truth and our authenticity.
Yeah.
And so,
and we wonder why we feel like shit or we're not where we want to be. Yeah.
And so like by not settling, by saying, no, this is not what I'm tolerating, not only do we shift our standards and what comes into our fields, it's never about the person, the opportunity, it's about what we're accepting and showing God, I'm accepting this. He's like, you say you want this, but you're accepting this. So that's actually what you're doing. The moment we're like, no, but this is what I want and this is what I'm aligning to, and anything that's not that, and I boldly say no, we start to call back those soul fragments and claim our power. And then, like you said, which was gold, you seeing your potential and rising to that allows you to see others' potential.
Yeah.
And like this is like, I think this is the gift like of, I'll say mentorship, coaching too, but specifically mentorship, because I kind of see that as like a higher level, as we talked about, like it's that mirror, it's power to power. And so like that's I think it's one of the gifts of a mentor, and I'm just having this download right now because I also see people's potential and I see where they're bullshitting themselves and they're not rising and they're playing victim instead of the victor, which is literally my business name is Jai Victory, about becoming the victor of your life. My spiritual name too, I read. So crazy. But it's the reason we can see that is because we're walking the path. Mm-hmm. And I think anybody has this ability, if they're willing to walk the path, to see their potential, because they gain evidence by walking the path. Once we start walking the path appears.
Yes.
But it doesn't appear before. The evidence doesn't appear before. It appears after the choice.
Yeah.
It's like the choice, the investment, the path. The next
you got to get in the car. You got to turn on the car and you got to start driving. You can get from New York to California in the dark with just your headlights. But like you got to push the gas or you're never going to make progress.
Exactly.
And you have to push the gas before the next piece and the next codes are illuminated, period.
Exactly. And this is where like in mentorship or these high proximity containers, you cannot hide, because if your potential is getting mirrored to you're like, whoa, okay. And then it's like,
I've been called out. I've been called forward.
Yes. And it activates that potential in you. It activates you. And then it's our job, once a mentor activates us, or our job as a mentor to activate, like you said. And sometimes that's uncomfortable and sometimes it's fun and it's all the things, but it's the activation, and it's like showing, like in the hero's journey, it's showing like the main character what's possible and guiding them, and then their job to take that. And so, and I just think personally, this is how we create the new earth, is we remind people through our embodiment and our mirroring how powerful we all are, and that there is no scarcity. It's everybody utilizing their unique gifts that are unique to them. There is no competition. That's all distortion. That's all a lie.
Right. There is no hierarchy. It's not like, because I stand in my power and I let my fire be big and bold and brave, like that detracts from nobody. It gives everybody that much more access and safety and proof that it is safe for them to live loud and take up space and to like untame their fire and their passion and their aliveness. And like that is the path. That is the revolution. It takes from nobody. There is no hierarchy. It's not the ego. Like, it's so funny how we're also now so afraid of the ego that we're letting the ego keep us small. Like, it's just like my favorite thing is people like, well, like, I don't want this to come across as egotistical, because they're like, you know, like just standing in their power and claiming their gift, or you're like, I'm an intuitive. And I'm like, yes, queen, me too. You know, like we're going to claim that. We're going to embody that unapologetically. But people are like, well, like, I did really good, but like, I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything. And I'm like, the more you do it, like that's actually, it's the ego that is afraid of what people will perceive of you, the perception of the other, that is diminishing and watering down your truth and your power and everything that makes you you. Like that's the actual, like you're actually giving ego, like you're giving the ego power by trying to avoid the ego. And so it's always like my favorite thing where I'm like, nah, get loud. Like get loud. It's not like, it's only the ego when it's in an effort to make somebody else be small. And so long as it's not that energy and you are just like, this is me and this is who I am and these are my God-given gifts, right? Like I'm not taking all the credit. Like I'm like, no, these are like, everything that I'm about to birth, I'm like, I channeled all of this. Like these were downloads and these were codes, and it is a sacred honor that I have to be a vessel for this. And I'm going to show you how to do the same, how to clear your channel and like, unrestrict where you're bottlenecking and where you're squeezing and contracting because you haven't expanded your capacity to actually feel safe feeling unsafe.
Yes, 100%. And that's it. This is also why, like, community that actually celebrates an actual sisterhood where it's like we can all thrive, or sisterhood and brotherhood where we can all thrive, is so important because celebration creates integration. And that was one thing I still struggle with it, to be honest, of like, oh, I created this thing, or like I did this thing, I achieved this thing, and it's like, oh, but I have to dim my light and pretend like it's like why? Because I'm not here diminishing other people. I'm showing them what's possible for them. And one thing that
I'm activating potential.
Exactly. And it's like I have clients that have like gone way beyond where I've gone because I've showed them a possibility. And it's like we can celebrate that. I'm not like the old paradigm is like, oh, the mentor, the teacher, like they can't, somebody else can't, be a teacher of somebody if they have, like, there is this hierarchy of like better or worse than. And when we're in a community that celebrates success and it's like, whoa, that's possible for them, this is possible for me too, but like in my own way, that's co-creation. This is the new earth. And there is no scarcity because people aren't just consuming. They're not just like doing a job that they hate because their soul's dying. They're literally offering their gifts and the money moves, the energy moves. It's like I invest in your gifts and you invest in mine, and it's just like we go where
it's collaborative. It's like, no, we all like I rise, you rise, we rise. Like it's not, there's not competition. It's collaboration, which I also think is the way of the new earth as well. Like deep, intimate, because it's going to be a like what you're talking about, like that self-feeding ecosystem of like everybody raises to get our consciousness expands, our wealth continues to like you said, when we're participating with the quantum, there is no limit on our potential to generate resources and income. And then when we're co-creating with more of God's creatrixes walking across the planet, like it goes from like what I can do by myself on my own versus what I can do in a group of, 5 women that are, can meet me where I'm at and be that mirror and celebrate me and I can celebrate them and we can co-create, and the resources, we become that much more resourced. Then you expand that, in the group of 10, 100 women, 1,000 women, like whatever the group that you feel called to, and or a one-on-one mentor that has been inside of those same exact rooms or the rooms that you are heading into. And so use that, and suddenly you have multiplied beyond what is comparable. Like you actually can't quantify it because it is so massive and so abundant, and so there is no cap on the actual potential. It's a limitless field. And we can tap into that through the other, through one another, through collaboration, through connection. But that's going to require you doing the hard, scary, uncomfortable thing to get in those rooms, to make that investment. And that's where the transformation is. It's less about even the mentor. I tell this to my clients all the time. Like, it's actually less about me. Like, yes, I am a channel. Yes, I have gifts. Yes, I will use my voice to speak. I will share what I see and what I sense and the gaps and all of that, but it really is less about the deliverables. It's less about me, and it's more about your call into my field and the codes that, the codes that I have that will come online for you through like osmosis, through, like sharing space. But it's less about me and the exactness of what I say, because source is going to channel and turn on what you need to hear. So it's less about what I say. It's more about like what you hear and what you, extract out of that, what you absorb through that. And so you just have to trust the yes that you've been called into my fields. But it's less about me. Like, that's where I'm like, I'm the activator. I'm giving you the opportunity. This offer, this paywall is your invitation into the initiation, into the activation. You trust that yes. The reciprocity is then up to you, because it's the integration of what you perceive. I remember one of my first like big, I mean, this was like 6, 7 years ago. I invested 15 grand in a year-long mastermind that was all about like ads, marketing. And it was like, bro, it was so bro marketing, Facebook ads, marketing, copywriting, like all the things. And it was it literally choked me because the energy was so like, it was a hell no, right? It lit up my fire and I was like, I cannot. So I stopped going.
Yeah.
And so my brain could have easily been like, it's their fault. They didn't deliver, or they don't know what they're talking about, or they're the problem, or I got it wrong and I shouldn't have invested in that. But there were pieces, there were codes where I'm like, this is a yes, this is a hell no. This is a yes, this is a hell no. But I'm the alchemist. I'm in the driver's seat. What can I absorb and create from this initiation and this opportunity?
Yeah.
And in that, it's like it also showed me what I didn't stand for, which now in my business strategies and processes, I get to create and I get to use the things that were a yes, but also I get to be like, okay, what's the actual roadmap here? Let's burn that blueprint. What's the actual like framework here that holds the quantum, that holds the feminine, that creates spaciousness and pleasure and is desire led and not pain point, And so I got to create my own roadmaps through what I didn't like. So it was a mirror, and it was that ROI. I mean, I've made back tenfold, in the way that I get to coach business now, but I did that, not them. It wasn't in what they taught. It was in the transformation, was in the initiation and the activation of the entireness of it.
Yes, I had a similar experience years ago. My second business coach, it was 15K USD, and I'm in Canada. And I didn't have the money in the bank. I somehow got a 15K USD credit card. I don't know how, but and like I was making like $400 a week doing Reiki, like Canadian. Now my business is in the US, but back then it was Canadian dollars. And it wasn't the coaching. I mean, it was like it was like a 30-minute coaching call 3 times a month. And they were very like, and anyway, a lot of people who signed up with this coach in the same one-on-one container got pissed off because like it was interesting what she had to say. Anyways, it doesn't matter because I had my first 20K USD month that month because I was unavailable to go into debt. And so it showed me what was possible. So sure, maybe what she said didn't really resonate as much as like other coaches that I've now had that I really resonated with their content, but it was the initiation, investing in me. And so again, I could have been like, I'm never investing again. Like after that, I was like, no, I'm actually investing in this other coach, and she's like 10K a month.
Right.
Like 2 months later after that, and I was like, and she resonated more, but it wasn't even about that. The biggest thing was like, I'm choosing me, and I'm choosing to prove to myself that I can actually manifest and create this money, because I've been talking about manifestation for years. But the money was like the sticky point. So I could manifest all these things, and I healed crazy things. Like I almost went blind and healed my eye, and I healed my ACL without surgery, and all of these things, and manifested like trips and whatever, a bunch of stuff. But I was like, okay, no, I have trauma with money. And so it forced me to do my money work. And I was like, whoa, I don't need to manifest through other ways. I can just directly manifest the money through source so that I can use it for whatever I want.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, we're so powerful. And it made me a deeper embodiment of what I talk about.
Yeah.
And so like, I think of anybody, because I know some people are like, the coaching industry is a scam and whatever. And sure, maybe there's coaches out there that just decided one day they wanted to be coach and they don't have certifications or training, or they're not embodied or all the things. But if you've made an investment like that, I've done the bro thing too. It was another $15,000 thing for 6 months. I was supposed to get a one-on-one coach. I did the whole shebang. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I met some people, key people in that container.
Yeah.
That I took none of the bro marketing from, and they're like lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Some of them became clients, and so resources, connections, and also I was like, oh, now I have to freaking like make this back, plus make it worth the investment. So like I'm gonna make this like $150,000 a year, and we actually surpassed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was impossible to me years before, like absolutely impossible. And so there are no mistakes. If you made a bad investment, like we've all done that in the market probably, or crypto or whatever, it's not a mistake. There's something there for you. Are you looking at it like this or even like dating, like I dated the wrong dude. Like, what was the lesson? What's the gold? Because there's always gold there.
Always.
Source doesn't mess around. Our souls don't make mistakes.
Mm-mm.
There's lessons, there's wisdom. Did you turn that, did you, like I say, gold dig your triggers?
Yeah.
Did you turn that mistake into freaking gold?
Yes.
That lesson, that worst thing that happened to you,
Yep.
into gold? Because it is, but that's in the decision as well. Like, I had an experience a couple months ago. It wasn't like the worst thing, but it was not cool. And I was like, I am going to make this the best thing that happened to me. I'm not only going to learn the lesson, but I am going to make this the full integration of all parts of this lesson. Yep. And be so grateful for the wisdom I learned through this very difficult circumstance. And you bet I did. And it shifted everything. Yep. So it's so easy to blame and think we're not the creator, or think that things are just happening to us. And that mindset, again, it's a very, you will not find that in high proximity containers, because people who are at that mindset will not invest in themselves because they don't trust themselves. And when you start to get in these high proximity containers, you start to realize how little, like, there's not like gossip, there's not like drama, there's like, okay, this thing happened, and
there's radical accountability.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what's the lesson I can now take from this? Mm-hmm. It's not like bad thing, like hard things don't happen. They do. I would say they actually happen at a deeper level, because we're at the level of duality. The better it gets, also the more we're holding. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's duality. That's life. Mm-hmm. Like, money's an amplifier. It's going to amplify the amazing things and experiences, and like, it's also going to amplify any fears, any trauma. It's going to amplify everything. And so if you want a deeper relationship, if you want to hold more wealth, if you want to expand your business, or to even build a soul line business, are you willing to hold it? Yep. And to walk through the fire? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that was this is so good.
That's so good. I'm like, we could have like riffed all night long. I'm obsessed.
Yes.
So good.
What else, Nikki, do you have to share? And then I'm going to make you a collab so you can find her on here. And then if we put this on the podcast, we'll get your, I don't know if you have a website, but I'll message you about that separately. We'll get that in the show notes. What do you have to leave the audience with?
Just remember your fire. Your fire is such a superpower. It is instilled in you. It is so, so sacred. And it is the very thing, like, without fire, there is no alchemy. So when we were talking about that gold digging, I'm like, yes, I have an archetype that I teach that, like, it's the alchemist, it's the opportunist. It's also like the efficiency queen of like, where are the lessons and how can I make this even easier? How can I create even more spaciousness? Like, where is the gold in the opportunity of all of it? And so like the alter ego of the alchemist is the gold digger. Like, yeah, let's play with that. Like, what is that? So like, this fire is illuminating your hell yeses and your hell nos. And so like, can you honor that? Like, really let your fire start to fan your fire and get in the rooms, trust your soul pulls, and get in the rooms with the people who are going to fan your flames. And that's the only way to alchemize and create more generational wealth that's going to change the world.
100%. Yeah, there's something so powerful about getting in the room, especially in person, because you cannot hide. Mm-mm. You cannot hide, and I love
it's
that.
It's like you have all these raging fires. There are no, like, the shadows can't hide because light illuminates it all. Like, shadow is just the absence of light. You get in a room with fire keepers and you have that much light, that many mirrors in one room, the shadows cannot hide. And that is where we grow. That's where the opportunity exists.
100%. There is nothing like in person, and there's also nothing like high proximity containers. Yeah. And we'll link your offerings and website and all the things. Are you cool if I pop this in the podcast?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay.
I'd love to stay connected with all people. Yep.
If you want to pop it on yours too, yep. I'll get my team to send it to you. Yeah, the last thing I want to say is Elena Cardone just popped into my mind when you said that. People are like, you're a gold digger, and she's like, you bet I am. I dig for gold. I dig for gold in people. I see the gold, and that's it. It's like, we can always make, oh, awesome. Adam just followed you. He's in one of my favorites. We go way back. We can always make lemonade with lemons, and there is nothing to be wasted. The hardest experiences of my life have been the biggest gifts. The biggest gifts, because I chose them to be the biggest gifts, whether it was learning discernment or stepping into my power or saying no to things that I was like, actually, this isn't in alignment. And we can gold dig our triggers. We can gold dig all the things that we think are wrong with us. No, they're not. They're your gifts. They're your gold. Your soul chose them.
No shame, baby.
No shame. Walk through the portal of shame and transmute it, because it's holding you back. It's warping your signal. Thank God I didn't know you and didn't end up with the bros.
Thank God I do know you. I know you and didn't end up with the bros.
Oh, the bro marketing of let's chase
clients. Listen, we did that for you guys, okay? So you don't have to go with the bros. Like,
yeah.
We went there so you don't have to.
We went there.
You're welcome. And we dug out the gold, and now we're skipping you a step. That's also what you're paying for. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, learning from, that's another thing with mentorship and like masterminds is you learn from other people's mistakes and you quantum leap time, because
my gosh,
you don't need to go through the 10 years, 20 years of lessons that somebody else did, or like, you know, like I know I went through a lot in my life, especially with like energy discernment, that I'm like, I wish nobody had to go through what I went through, but I'm glad I went through it so I could tell my story and teach people through what I went through and then give them what they actually need.
Yeah.
Hi, Ashley. It's good to see you. Okay, so that was so fun, Nikki.
That was amazing.
So much.
Your magic. I can feel your fire. The fire in me sees, honors, and never compares the fire in you.
Likewise. Oh, and I'm so glad you talked to me that one day.
You're welcome. I was like, I felt but I felt like I'm like, it wasn't a boundary. It was just like, I'm cool if nobody talks to me right now. And I could tell, it's like, I'm like, she's in some processes. And I was like, hey girl, hey. And here we are. Like one meeting, right? Like also what an edge, right? Of like one meeting and that knowing of like, no, there's a collaborative conversation that needs to be had. There are codes that we both hold and we see eye to eye that can unlock codes in others. And so like, what a gift, because also we wouldn't be here having this conversation if we were not the kind of women and the kind of leaders who choose in and understand the power and the importance of getting uncomfortable and doing the uncomfortable thing.
100%. And it's just a testament to say, like, if you have the impulse to like talk to somebody or to introduce yourself, like do it. Because it's interesting. I had just come from, my family is in Alberta, and like they don't really understand what I do. My mom more so now, she's like into it. But and it was like I was going through this. I didn't share this that day. There was so many initiations, like losing my voice and then like holding boundaries with clients and stepping to this new level, and then you know the flights, and I was kind of sick, and I'm also an introvert. But then also I was like working through shame of like sharing my gifts, like, and I just moved my family. I'm like, oh, they say I'm like a counselor. I'm like, oh God, I'm not a counselor. I'm like, God, that's not what I do.
That's not it. That's not
like,
the energy.
That's not it. Like, and like, I'm like, just say I'm a mentor, like a shamanic mentor. If you can't say that, like, I don't know. I teach spirituality. I teach energy, like whatever you want to say. If you don't want to talk about shadow work and integrating your power, then like, but anyways, but it was like, I'd just been there, and like, we were kind of talking, and I was like, I'm new to that community. Like, and so I know some people there, like old business coaches, people from, actually there was a couple clients that had been to my breathwork ceremonies years ago that I didn't know were there. I ran into them. Some of them are in that mastermind that you joined. But I was like, can I say what I do? Like, are they gonna be like how woo are these people? But then also how grounded are they? Because I'm not somebody who's like just in like the woo communities. That's not grounded 3D. I'm like, no, how do we integrate this into the business and scale the business? And like, I was like, oh, it was like so perfect, because the people that I met, like including yourself, we would just start talking, and it would be like goosebumps, like soul remembrance. I was talking to another woman who I'm actually we're gonna do a live as well on like how we choose our traumas. And I'm like, can I say this? Because I've gotten daggers thrown at me. And she's like, oh my God, I'm having goosebumps and like an activation as you're saying this. And she's like talking about her brother or something, her partner's brother, and like how he was like a victim because something happened when they were young, but then the brother like took that and like became the hero of his life. And I'm like, yeah, because our soul chooses them in their initiations. And like, I was like, wow, like we will be magnetized to people for a reason. And like there wasn't a coincidence that like I sat beside you, and that also like you were the one who like reached out, and you felt even though I was like in my hermit, you felt that call to like say something, and I'm so glad you did. And I think this is where it's a lesson for me too, because there's times where I'm like, oh, I should say something to this person, but then, you know, my shyness will come out and I won't, and then it's like a missed opportunity. And like that conversation turned into like this and like a sisterhood, and like who knows where it'll go next.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and that was an edge for me though too. I had set intentions. I told a couple sisters here, like local friends, and I was like, I noticed, so I'm a 6'2". So if it's in my space, if you come into my field, my 6, my role model, everybody perceives me as the expert. They perceive me as an extrovert. But if I go into someone else's field, I tend to show up more as the line 2, as the hermit, and as the introvert. So a lot of times unconsciously, like I relate more to the introvert, especially when I'm in spaces that are not my own creation. And so, but it was like, and I know, like, I knew it was going to be loud, and it was going to be like, people were going to be big and shining bright, which I was also like, hell yes, I'm here for that energy. That's something that I'm very, very passionate about, is like full expression, whatever that looks like for you. Like, please, for the love, don't express yourself like me, express yourself like you. And so, but it was like, can I be in that space, and can I stretch beyond like the desire to sit in the back row? Like, and I'm totally good. Like, I don't feel a certain type of way. I'm like, put me in the back row by myself. I'll just like have my little blinders on, and I'll just take my notes, and I'll be in my space, and I'll absorb all the codes that I need to and go back home and integrate. And that like could have been enough, but I really felt like a big part of the initiation was like, can I hold space, and can I take up space too? And connection and collaboration is so important to me. Like I said earlier, I really truly believe it's the way of the new earth as well. And so can I stretch myself? Can I get outside of my comfort zone? So it was even more of an edge, the fact that I like pinged your like some, you know, like, oh, you didn't have a voice. You literally didn't have, like, you didn't want to talk to people because you literally didn't have a voice. Like, I would have done the exact same thing. And then I pegged that, and it was like, you're talking to her anyways. And I was like, okay, all right. And then you like tell me about your voice, and I'm like, okay, cool. So we're going to continue this conversation. Like, I like kept asking questions anyways. But that was an edge for me too, believe it or not. Like, people perceive me oftentimes as the extrovert, but I relate to very much the introvert, especially in spaces like that. And so just to have us both be moved and stretched beyond our edges so that we could be here and pay this service forward and collaborate in this way is just a beautiful testament to everybody to do the hard, scary thing. Trust your yeses, trust your yeses, trust your yeses.
The courage, the confidence is on the other side. Embodied confidence comes from courage. And that I literally just learned about the two flying back from LA. My friend's like a 6'2". I think he's a 5'2", because I'm a 5'1". We're both 5s and entrepreneurs. And he's like, I'm a hermit. And I'm like, since when? It was like very bizarre because I don't perceive to be a hermit. But yeah, it's interesting because it's like, and this is where if we let these things like, the point here is like, have the courage to follow your intuition, and the confidence comes on the other side. This is where so many people recently are like, Jill, you're so confident. Because when I facilitate, when I teach, like, I have embodied confidence in my presence, but I don't perceive myself as confident. It's that I have the courage, and because of that, I have the courage over and over and over again. Now my cells are like embodying a level of confidence, and that's earned.
Yeah. And others feel safe inside of that because of your confidence. But again, it's earned.
It is
earned. Yeah.
And even these small moments of, I'm going to go say hi to this person or talk to this person who's like, and then realize She doesn't have a voice. I like my voice.
But then it's like, talk to her anyways. And I was like, okay.
I'm so glad you did.
So much magic. We're a
So
match
much
for
magic.
magic. This
You're a
is why
match.
we do this work. We can't not. We can't not. We can't not. Yeah.
Lighting up the world.
Yep.
Hi, Joe. Is that Joe Chow? Oh my God, it's been so long. Here, all my people from my past are like, who is this? Like,
Popping up.
even this is
Hey, friends.
uncomfortable,
Hey, soul
right?
fam. Yeah.
But this is where embodied confidence is, and this truly is the soul path. And like you said, all the abundance is accessible to us in spaces if we choose to invest and choose ourselves and follow the soul pulse. So thank you so much, Nikki. I will make you a collaborator. We'll put your stuff in the show notes in the podcast. We'll get you the podcast if you choose to use it as well. And I just love you so much. I'm so glad you talked to me and reached out. And I can't wait to see where the sisterhood goes.
Yes. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, friends.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Sacred Soul. I hope you loved that episode. And if you did, I would so appreciate if you could share and tag me on the social medias at Jill Alana Nixon. And if this brought you value, I would be eternally grateful if you could leave a 5-star review. And if you did, take a picture and email it to teamjillalana.nixon@gmail.com, and we will gift you a free cord cutting soul revival mini activation, a Jai activation. Put that in the show notes, the email, and thank you so much. We will see you again next week on the Prosperity Portal podcast.